Hey everybody, I am back for part 2 of my underground review for episode 8. Please forgive me. Okay, here's my big head dog. Hi Rocco, don't kiss me, baby. Get down. I'm having to do a part 2 because I'm recording on my phone and I got a phone call and it totally cut off my video. It wouldn't leave it on pause so that I could just pick up. So anyway, I'm back. We just left the big house with James saying that he's not going anywhere. Okay, so now we are back with Ernest and Augustine. Yes, they are on the run, and yes, they are clearly on two different teams, but just very briefly, they had a discussion, which I thought was real, just a real nice moment that they had about their children. And I appreciated that because I guess, even with the heaviness of everything that's going on, they could put their differences aside and just discuss things as parents and just, the love that a parent would have for a child. So I did appreciate that scene. Okay, then we get a very quick dinner scene with Harriet Tubman and Georgia and Elizabeth and all the sewing circle people and maybe some of those John Brown followers and some men who were at the table too. And they just kind of joking with Elizabeth and asking her, hey, how was church, And, so they know that money was stolen and the money's there. The money that they did steal from the church service is going to be enough to support Rosalie and her family on this trip back from Georgia. And the station house is still open, but it still needs some money, but they're going to do what they can. And, Georgia says, we'll just somehow have to make it happen. And we still see that Elizabeth's wheels are turning. She's trying to think of what she can do. Okay, so we're back to Miss Ernestine and August and Patty's dummy. She lets him know that she needs to take a little potty break. She needs to go to the girls' room. And he's just probably not really trusting her, but she's like, okay, so what, do you want me to do it right here? He's like, okay, fine, go. So she goes off into the woods, and he's so concerned with trying to steal August's liquor that he doesn't realize that she's no longer tied to the rope, and she's tied the rope to a tree. So once he realizes it, of course, he goes running after her, and that sends August running after him. He catches up with Ernestine and beats on her a little bit. August catches up with him and beats on him a lot. And then August eventually ends up stabbing him in the neck and then shooting him in the chest. Now, we know that last season, that's exactly why August ended up in prison, because he got into it with Patty for killing one of her white men, and that Patty doesn't believe in wasting bullets on white people. So if this guy is ever found, I guess that August is going to have to say, it was suicide? I don't know. So we'll have to see what happens. So now we are back with Mr. Noah, and it is time to kill Bill. Noah is sitting up in Bill's little shack, patiently waiting on his arrival, and I love that Noah is just sitting there like he's a welcome guest, and he didn't sneak up behind Bill or try to do anything sneaky. He fought him, squared up with him, face to face, one-on-one, man-to-man, and Bill probably got in 2 or 3 good hits, but Noah basically handled him. And I can only imagine how good it must have felt for Noah to take Bill's whip off of him, and that very thing that Bill used to punish him with. And I don't know if it was necessarily the same whip. Bill might have gotten a new whip in the last few months, but that very thing that Bill used to punish him with, he got to choke the life out of him with. And, how dare you brand my woman's face, my wife's face, because she didn't allow you to rape her? So, yeah. The spitting on him was just the icing on the cake. Go, Noah. Okay, so now we are back to Elizabeth, and she goes to visit her good girlfriend, her long-lost friend, Lainey, who she hasn't seen in a while, who couldn't make it to her husband's funeral. And she's there at the house with her donation box, looking for a donation for the cause. And Lainey lets her know, well, it's Christmas. It's not really a good time. She gives her some excuses, among which, it's Christmas. And Georgia's like, hey, what better, not Georgia, I keep calling Elizabeth Georgia. Elizabeth says, what better time than to give to people in need than Christmas time? How perfect, lucky you, it's your lucky day, go on and give me a donation. And Lainey is just like, look, finally she gets down to it and says, I'm not donating to anything that Georgia woman is attached to. She didn't come out and say that Georgia Negro is attached to, but that's what she meant. We all knew that that's the rumors that's flying around. And Elizabeth lets Lainey know that, there aren't rumors just flying around about Georgia. There's some rumors going on around about you. And she proceeds to name 3 men that Lainey has slept with, and none of whom are her husband. And so, in effect, with that, we have a blackmail plot. And what that blackmail plot also does is basically puts Lainey on a monthly pay plan to help the cause. So I'll be back here every month to collect from you, or either to tell your husband about these men you're sleeping with. So how much will you be giving today? And I'll see you next month on January 25th. Thank you. So Ernestine wakes up in the middle of the night in the little boat with August to find out that they are headed south. That was just a really short scene, but it put a smile on her face, and that made me happy to see that it looks like these two are teaming up. As my fiance is in the back raising his fist. I can't do it all the way because I'll be out of the frame, but he did say that he thought that August might be coming around when he was watching on yesterday. He pretty much watched every episode yesterday from the end of season 1 and starting with season 2. So now it's time for a Christmas dinner at the Macon Plantation. And Miss Susanna is still in the Christmas spirit, and she has gathered her best niggers at the table to have dinner with her. And she's so excited. And she's even moved to a speech. And part of the speech, she talks about all of the work that they have done together, all of them that they have done together all year long. And I heard that, and I just had to think, what work was Miss Susanna possibly doing with her slaves? So it turns out that as far as Noah was concerned, that none of Miss Susanna's favorite niggers were the one to help him with his plan. So he busts in on Christmas dinner with a gun in hand and lets everyone know that Rosalie and James have to come with him, and they have to come now. James lets them know that he's not having it, or he gets ready to know, and Rosalie proceeds to take a silver plate and whack him upside the back of his head. Now, he deserved that for screaming last week, but anyway, so now they're off, and the standoff is going to happen outside. So we're outside, and Miss Susanna lets Rosalie know that you're not going to get far with my son, that's my son now. And TR comes out basically to shoot them. He has his little gun, and he ends up accidentally shooting his mother. Noah shoots TR in the leg and the knee or something, and so he's down. And Miss Susanna lets them know that, look, y'all are going to get drugged back to this plantation. You might get away now, but you're going to get drugged back here. Oh, but Rosalie, she's basically like, can't get drugged back to something if it ain't nothing to get drugged back to. So we get the flashback of now Ernestine's daughter. Yeah, it's Rosalie, but that was Ernestine's daughter, who was in the house cleaning and turning on all of the gas while she was cleaning. Then she proceeds to throw that little lantern in the window, and boom, boom, boom. The big house is down. That scene was amazing. And to me, the only thing that could have possibly made it better would have been if the field slaves had been able to see the explosion, and we could have seen them looking at the big house blowing up and seen them celebrating. That would have just been everything. But it was still everything. It was such a good scene. And then we see the very, very last scene, the newest cargo that they have at George's place. And it is the one and only Mr. Cato. And you guys, I am hoping and praying that somehow Cato is going to do the right thing, and he's not just there to help Patty Cannon. One thing that crossed my mind was that when Patty made her deal with him, she was using Debbie against him as leverage for her. But since he's already put Debbie in bondage, maybe now he can have some room to plot and move in the way that he would do. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a reversal. We only have 2 episodes left to go. So everybody, let's just join hands together and pray that Cato does the right thing. We know that it can go either way with Cato. He either goes really, really wrong or really, really right. There's no in between with him. So let's pray that he does the right thing. Thank you guys for tuning in and for sticking with me through another part 2. I wasn't trying to do it, but I got that stupid phone call. And let's just see what happens. Any comments or anything, leave them below. If I left out anything that you thought was important, please leave that in the comments. And I will see you for next week for Underground Season 2, Episode 9. Have a good one. Any last words, dear? No last words from my fiance. He always likes to throw in something after I press the pause button. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
I was just about to say something. I'm going to let you finish.
It's still recording, so what do you want to say?
Oh.
He's camera shy.
Yeah. Okay,
So we'll talk later. Bye, you guys.